She used to be a French teacher. She got her degree in teaching and from Brock University in St. Catharines after the family moved here. And she taught for several years while the winery was in its fledgling state, when it was just starting out. And she retired a few years ago, and these days she pretty much handles a little bit of its administrative work, but she's more or less an ambassador to the chateau, and usually here all weekend. But you can see her sometimes in the tasting room at the end of the bar, regaling visitors with her stories. Their oldest son, Paul Jr., is Vice President of Marketing and Administration, and his wife, Michelle, is in charge of communications and employee training. She is the one you're going to want to talk to if you have any complaints about me today. Paul Sr. is a fifth-generation winemaker, originally from Alsace, France. His family was living in Algeria. It was French Algeria at the time, and that was in the 60s. In the early 60s, a revolution broke out, and in 1962, Algeria won its independence from France, and part of that agreement was all the French had to leave. So they moved back to France and settled in Dijon, which is famous for its mustard. It's also famous for the University of Burgundy there, and that's where Paul Sr. went to school and got his degree in enology and viticulture. The family then moved to Montreal, and Paul Sr. was working for the SAQ, bless you, which is similar to the LCBO, which we have here in Ontario. It's a liquor distribution center run by the province. He was working in the quality department, and he really wanted to make wine. That was his passion. Through a series of events that transpired, he ended up moving up here to Niagara, where we were making wine at the time, and we have only been making wine up here for about 60 years. So there's a difference between our wine and some of the older places in the world where they make wine. It's a different wine. We haven't been doing it as long. The biggest difference was when he got here, we were making wine with the Lambrusco and Concord grapes, which are native to North America. They make a really nice juice and a nice jam, but they make a terrible wine. A really bad one. So Paul Sr. tried to convince the grape growers to switch to the Vitis vinifera, which are the grapes, the grapevines that are used in Europe, that are grown in Europe. Your Chardonnays, your Merlots, Cab Sauvignon, etc., etc. The grape growers here said it couldn't be done because of our climate and phylloxera, which is a pest that attacks the root. Paul Sr. told them it could be done. They told him, and went back and forth. They said, we're not going to invest any more time and money. We tried and failed. It's not worth it. And Paul Sr. believed it could be done. So in 1978, he bought a plot of land about 3 kilometers northeast of here. And that's where he started, and he founded Chateau de Charme. We're going to go into the back room here and take a look at the vineyard. We can't go out there today. As I said, it's closed. But we'll take a look at the vineyard, and I'll explain some of the things that he did and how he managed to start growing the Vitis vinifera here in Canada. And what he did actually revolutionized winemaking in Canada. And because of that, because of his accomplishments, because of his willingness to share his ideas, his thoughts, his methods openly and freely with other grape growers in the region, because of that, in 2005, in November, he was awarded the Order of Canada, which is the highest award, the highest distinction a Canadian citizen can receive. So follow me out to the tasting room here, the estate room, and I'll explain